the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not Road Dog Crypto.
Welcome, YouTube. How are we doing? I got the headphones on tonight so I can kind of hear my voice, so I'm not going to waver in and out so much. Be a little bit more consistent that way. Make sure everyone can hear me fine. Got the chat stream up here where I can see it if you chime in. And thank you all for visiting. Anyone who's here, anyone who pops in. Today, we're just going to be taking a look at the crypto market, starting out with Bitcoin, kind of looking at the thing overall, getting a feel for it, may look at total 2, some other things there, Bitcoin dominance and the like, just to get a feel for the market. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at YFII because a subscriber had requested that, and I have not got around to doing a video on that. So my game plan overall, trying to focus on doing a little bit more live streams. Now, this is not my comfort zone. This is something I've got to grow into. And I hope that you bear with me as I do that. It's a lot easier to be a little bit more eloquent when you can edit versus me stumbling over my words all the time, because that's what I do. So getting back on track, after that, we'll look at YFII. Then I want to discuss about market cycles, because that plays a key role into the area that we are in on this 4-year cycle and how we handle Bitcoin and also how we, tackle the altcoins. We are in the lower levels of the market cipher, and we need to look at what we can do here. From there, if I have any requests to take a look at coins, I'm more than happy to do that. And as I do this, I lay out how did I do my analysis. And the whole goal is so that you can learn to do what I do. And I teach this freely. I'm not trying to shill you some subscription course. I'm not trying to shill you some trading group to take money out of your pocket to put into mine and call myself a professional trader. I'm not trying to pull any of those shill games on you. It's just me sharing what I've learned, and what I'm teaching is what has really changed my life in crypto. I've been in crypto since about 2013, started out doing some hobby mining. I actually found the receipt for the first Bitcoin that I bought, which is about a third of a Bitcoin, 2014. It's like for $158. Isn't that crazy? And it took me years and years of playing around, winning and losing, to finally figure out I wasn't getting anywhere until I finally figured out how to read these charts. And that was the beginning. That was the game changer. And from there, I stopped losing, because up until then, I was constantly feeding this market, expecting a return. And I just wasn't getting it. I could win, but I'd also lose out everything, bust even, go under. It was learning how to chart and the basic principles behind technical analysis that has changed my life and has put me in a much better financial situation than where I was before. And I'm very happy to share that with other people, especially people who are just now coming into this market, because I know it sucks to go for years and lose or just not get it. And turning right, you look left, you look right, and you see all these people making money in this market. And you're just like, every time I buy, it goes down. Every time I sell, thinking I'm saving myself, it turns around and goes the opposite direction. Technical analysis can help you with that. That will solve that problem. The other flip side of this coin when it comes to trading is manage your emotions. And that's what we're feeling a lot of right now when we're down at these bottom lows and we're starting to get skittish. And you can see that in the market, especially with everything that's been happening in the news, in the market overall, in the legacy market, Wall Street, and also how the things have affected us in crypto. You know the story. I'm not going to regurgitate it. It can get stressful. And welcome to the bear market. This is how it plays out. There's a reason why things go down. We expect them to go down. We just don't know the reason at the moment. And it usually fits the cause or fits the purpose when we find out. Something to bring us down to these bottoms. Something to drive us to where we are scared to death to jump in on this, where we'll turn around, look the other way, jump out of the market, decide to come back in later. And this is when all the smart money is getting those prices that we later look at. When things start going up, when Bitcoin's up at say 45,000, people start looking, oh, there's something to this Bitcoin. It's going back up again. All the smart people got their positions in now. They're already in profit. They're ready to sell on you when you decide to come back in. That's how this game works. So if you're in this market right now, I applaud you because you are in at the best time. I see Leandro. Leandro, how you doing, buddy? So glad to see you. Leandro is my original road dog. I'm celebrating 400 subscribers, and I've got to get credit to Leandro for helping me to get here. My original road dog, hitting that like button, leaving comments on just about every video that I make. Leandro, thank you very much, man. Anyone else watching this, you probably got here because of this man's efforts, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate the support that I get from you guys when you hit those like buttons, when you leave comments. That's all I need. I don't need to try to show you some $99 course or trading group. I just ask for a like. That's all. Leandro, so glad to see you. If you can have a look at Doc later, I'll be more than grateful. I will do that. All right. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and get started and just take a quick look here at Bitcoin. And I've got our 1 hour chart up. Things have been playing out very well. Put up these 2 lines right here in the last video I did, and I think it's about a week ago. And it's maintained that. I was getting a little nervous that maybe we might actually break through this, start finding some more bottom levels is definitely a possibility. But, you know, our indicators were saying, hey, we got a possible chance to get that bounce, and we did. And I'm so glad to see that. So we are looking to head back up to these higher levels. Now, right here, I've got this marked out with this little dotted line here, 17,630. That was our low. That was where I actually thought we actually had a bottom. Indicators are pointing that we got our bottom back over here, way back over here. I can't even find it now. But the first drop that we had down here that scared us so bad, I was considering that to be our bottom. If you ask me where our bottom's in now, oh, that's kind of tricky to say. Now, time-wise in this cycle, we should be at a bottom. Somewhere, anywhere around through here. Now, if you're going to ask me if this was the bottom that we hit at 15, I mean, I don't know. Could be, maybe, hope so. That would be great. Looking at the analysis now, we're in a pretty good spot. But again, as I said, time-wise in the cycle, we should be right at it. I mean, within 30 days or somewhere through there, we've normally hit bottom by now in this cycle. So it's just curious. I mean, anything could happen. Just have to be open and cautious for it. But right now we're showing some good signs. We had an inverted head and shoulders that we're bouncing out up of, and we are currently in a rising channel, which is technically bearish. So, you know, we may come up to the top of that. And let me just go ahead and expand this on the 1 hour so we can get back where we were. And I'll tell you what I'm saying. We could come up here to our last low because we've got to flip that into support. So it's really important that we come up past that, hold that as support, flip it, and then we got a chance to keep going up. Now, the measured move for this inverted head and shoulders is taking us all the way up here to 18,053. Hopefully we can make that. But the key point I'm looking for is, you know, 17,650 right through there. And that's what I'm looking for. This may be an area to take a short. Generally, we were in the symmetrical triangle, and I've noticed that a lot of other traders are starting to get on board with me on my analysis on this, that this is a wild card, because you can't trust them. If they break up to the upside, you can almost be certain they're going to come back down to the downside, and they just go sideways everywhere. And really what they do is just extend a broader range. So let me get this little rectangle thing. So we were trading right in here. It got really tight. And so what this is going to do is just kind of open up more than likely, open up a bigger trading range where you can just kind of trade sideways and slow for a while. So it's very possible, you know, in the next few months or something, maybe to come back down and retest this area about 15.5, 15.6. I mean, that's usually how these things happen. When we establish a bottom, it's got to come back down to that area. It's got to step on that again to make sure its firm is going to hold that weight, right? And so that's kind of what I'm looking at. So a little temporary upside, but at some point over the next month or two, I do expect us to maybe come back down and retest these areas about 1,500. So I think it's kind of important that we build that into our strategies, whatever that we're doing here. Overall, let me come to a larger time frame, like the daily here. Because when Bitcoin bottoms, let's just look over here. This is what it does, long and sideways. All right. That's what we can expect. This is the point in time of this market cycle. This is going to try to bore us to death. And let me just kind of go ahead and we'll start talking just a little bit about market cycles. Let me check my chats real quick. Okay. By the way, I saw that head and shoulders like you did. You mentioned that. It's nice to see I'm starting to understand the charts a little bit better. You're showing, you're doing really good, Leandro. From the comments I see from you, you're getting this, baby. You got it. You just keep adding a little by little. And you just watch people. And if you can watch people doing what I'm doing right here, and there's several people on YouTube that do this, as long as they're not out there trying to sling trading groups and courses and trying to get money from you. If you see the warning signs, I will say, if you see their chat groups and people are shilling whatever they're selling, I mean, that's where they make their money. I'm trying not to rant, but today, for some reason, I feel like ranting about this. I'm going to try not to do that. But I just don't like seeing people take advantage of the new people that come in the market. And that's how that game is played. And it's just taking money out of your pocket. A subscription, $100 a month. Really? Why is everybody trying to get $100 a month? $100 a month for an indicator, $100 a month for a course. And all they are doing is just regurgitating everything that you can learn freely online, freely in books. It leaves a bad taste in my mouth, especially when they call themselves professional traders. And once you learn TA, you can spot them. All right. Once you learn how to read charts yourself and you watch some of these guys, yeah, you know when they're being sloppy. You know when they're not just telling you the whole truth, or you know when they're just making things up off the fly. And man, there's one or two people out there I see do that. And that's the whole motivation for me starting this channel. Get this out there free and to give you the sources to back that up. And the best sources that I can give you is thepatternsaw.com. And one other thing, I picked something up on Amazon, which I thought was really, really cool. And it's from a company called Wall Street Merch. Let me throw that up there. And what they are, they're cards, like flashcards. Really cool idea. And I was so impressed with this, I actually reached out to the company. They're supposed to send me a coupon code for these. I think they run about $35 on Amazon. You can also go to their website, wallstreetmerch.net. I think you can order there. Haven't got that coupon code yet, but when I do, I'll list that on the bottom of my videos. But I'll start using these probably in my chart school videos. But they give the statistics. Thomas Bukowski, the guy from the pattern site, the guy I follow where I get my stats. It's just an easy format to go over these, kind of learn them, just have something to reference. Really cool. So I would say if you're looking for a gift for Christmas for the trader who has everything, or the trader who's lost everything, pretty cool idea. All right. I have lost my train of thought. We were going over market cycles, I believe. All right. So let me get some clear space up here. And I just want to go over this little concept. Now, we say cycle. It's kind of like a circle. But when you extend it out, it's kind of like a phone cord. And I swear sometimes I can see that in the charts. So we got this little cycle. It just repeats up and down. It's waves. That's all it is waves. And so you got your peaks up here at the top. That's the top of the market. And down here is the bottom. And the pretty simple thing for trading is what you always hear: buy low, sell high. Sounds simple, doesn't it? The only thing is, you can't always see where these high and lows are. So we have to depend on something like technical analysis and our indicators to help us figure out these areas. Now, luckily for us, Bitcoin does follow a 4-year cycle. So we know that this repeats every 4 years, roughly right at every 4 years. It's been doing this like clockwork. And we keep trying to change that. We keep saying, oh, we got a new cycle at every top. Oh, this one's going to be different, but it never is. It keeps repeating. And the reason it does this is because of the halving cycle with Bitcoin. That's the whole key to this. When Bitcoin does this halving, which should be around March, April of 2024, we still got about another 18 months, 15 months left for that. That's when you're going to see prices really be affected. That creates a shortage in the market. And that's when we start seeing those big, humongous rises for Bitcoin. And that's what we saw back in this area right here. That's what happened. We had our halving somewhere. Where was it? I think it was after that. It was either before or after the big crash. And I can't remember exactly. It seems like it was just right before. It may have been right after. But anyway, we started getting this leg up right here. So that's the whole beauty of that. 4-year cycle is just repeatable. All right. So let me get back on point here. So where we are right now, by time-wise and even by the charts, is right down here at the bottom. And so this part of the market when we get here, if you're brand new to crypto or if you haven't been through these cycles before, the very best strategy you can do, especially if you're not into chart reading or trading, is to do some kind of dollar cost average strategy. And that could be whether you're buying every week, every 2 weeks, whatever time period, or there's several different ways to do it. You could wait for a certain percentage of the market to drop. Say the market drops 20% or 10%, buy a little then. Wait for the big crashes, buy a little. Those are all some options to do that. But now if you do commit to a time frame, say every week or every 2 weeks, I tend to think that you will tend to do better because it's easier to wait for those drops and then talk yourself out of doing it. Okay, so one other strategy that I use is I'll set limit orders at various prices on down the line, right? And that's actually what helped me get both the 17.5 price, nabbed that because we dipped right down to it. And I was going by my T8 to figure out that price. And also the recent price we had around 15,600 right through there. I was right there. I got that bottom one too. So that's another good way to do that. But the gist of it is that right now is the time to start looking at getting into this. And now one thing that I will point out, a lot of people will go into altcoins at this time. There's two ways to look at that. You can dollar cost average through this whole time, and you're likely to go into drawdown doing that. And that's part of the game. Okay. When we're doing an investing strategy versus trading, it's common for us to see our accounts go a little bit in the drawdown. So we try to start our dollar cost averaging close to the bottom as we can get. And I'm just telling you right now is a good time. It's a really, really, really good time to start. If you haven't started yet, highly recommend it. And you can thank me in 2 years. All right. Now, I'll say this about altcoins. Some people, some of the wiser traders, they will wait till we actually start getting a confirmed move in Bitcoin before they start getting into that. Like wait till the bottom is actually in. Some of your more conservative traders will do that. So they will wait until Bitcoin will start showing a higher high. So if we were to come down on here, it would look something like this. They would wait till we got a higher high, say up here, made a lower low or a higher low, go up to that higher high. That would be the point that they would start coming in on altcoins. People have different strategies for that. For more the degen types, more the risk taker types like me, yeah, I've already been getting into some, okay, and I'm in drawdown on some of them, and I'm cool with that. And then some of them, I'm doing pretty good. All right, but one thing that I will warn about going real heavy on altcoins, and I learned this the hard way on this last cycle right here when we got the pump up for Bitcoin. I got into this and I was heavy in Bitcoin. I used my Bitcoin to buy my alts because I did not have this whole Bitcoin dominance thing quite through my head, apparently, or I would have known better to do that. But, as Bitcoin went up, the dominance started pumping. And it sounds good. My altcoins went up. They went up too, but they didn't go up as much as Bitcoin. My strategy was to build my Bitcoin with my altcoin purchases. And because I was heavier into alts over here than picking them up as we gradually went up, I kind of lost out on that Bitcoin run. I was kind of disappointed in my altcoin results for this whole move because I expected a lot more. And we did kind of get cheated since we reached our tops here and fell down with all that went on during this distribution. We didn't really get that big altcoin season that we're expected. Usually after Bitcoin tops out, there's about a month where altcoins will just skyrocket and go crazy. We didn't get those blow up tops and everything. So that kind of, hurt me as far as my strategy because that's what I was planning on. But the biggest thing I want to say is had I been more heavy into Bitcoin here, I would have seen a lot better results. Whereas I was more heavy in the altcoins and had very little Bitcoin. I think I had very little Bitcoin at all. So the plan was to sell altcoins in the Bitcoin up here. It didn't quite work out as great. I mean, it was not a horrible strategy at all, but I still came out. But the things I'm going to do different now, or what I'm doing different now, is I'm more heavy into Bitcoin. And there's several reasons for that. One, as adoption starts coming, especially for Main Street, Wall Street, and all that, their main thing is to look at Bitcoin. It was Bitcoin and ETH. Now with ETH, the question about it being the security, we'll have to see how that plays out. But, that may kind of hurt ETH a little bit. I don't know. I have been stocking up more on Bitcoin and ETH. Those are my two biggest holdings. And then I've got my other altcoins and everything, my degen plays and all that, and then my trading. All right. And I think that's pretty much all the points that I wanted to talk about. As far as market cycles go, this is where we are. Over the next 6 months, we should be right over here. And there's no reason why we shouldn't be. I wouldn't be surprised if we're not at this point right here in this cycle where we're getting ready to go up. We'll just, give it some time and see. Time-wise, we should be doing that. And right now, the charts are looking decent at the moment. But again, as I said, what I'm expecting is that we will come up, retest these areas here, may get rejected, although, our bigger overall pattern that we're in is a bullish pattern. It's a falling channel. We could actually get up to the 20,100 area. And this pattern does have a chance to break out. Now, whether it takes a little while to do it or it just goes ahead and does it, it's got about a 68% chance to break out to the upside. This looks pretty good right now. And some people would say, oh, this is just another bear flag, which is not. This one's a falling channel. This whole thing here, that's bullish. Now, if it was pointing to the upside, I'd be saying, yeah, we're getting ready to drop down big. But this one's pointing down. That's a good sign that we can at least break out of this and come back up to these levels somewhere. So we should not just drop out of the bottom of this, because that just goes against the pattern. I'm not saying it couldn't happen. It definitely can, but we're not showing signs of doing that, and it doesn't play into what this pattern does. My chart looks ugly. Let me see if I can clear this out a little bit. I think I made all the points I was going to make on that. Let's just take a look at the market really, really quick. We like to take a look at the dollar. Luckily, that has broken down. It's been on a downward slide. That's great. It looks like it's going to keep going. Just looking at my EMAs right here. See if we can get some indicators up. RSI is getting toward the bottom. It may get a bounce here. And it's doing what Bitcoin's doing. Remember, we were talking about that slanted kind of flag, which means, it's a falling wedge. It's got a chance to break back up. So we could be coming back up to these areas in the next, we're on the daily. That would go in line with the FOMC, our, we've got the rate hikes and everything. It's coming up December 14th, 13th, and 14th, I believe. I could see that playing in line. I could see the dollar getting a pump up probably to these levels over the next week or two. And we may get hurt on that with Bitcoin. It's something to keep an eye on there. So I'd definitely look at that. Now, on the daily, we've got the 200 EMA coming under here. What is it, 105? What we could hope for is that we get rejected there and then come on down. That would be great. Could happen. We're getting across there. That could be a sign for it, but that pattern suggests we got a chance to bounce out of that. All right. And from here, I want to take a look at Bitcoin dominance. It is headed up at the moment. That is going to have a little bit of effect on altcoins. This is a bullish pattern. It's got a chance to break out of there. If it does, altcoins probably will suffer a little bit as far as Bitcoin goes. The alt Bitcoin pairs will suffer from that. Something to keep an eye on there. I would say we'd be headed up to this 200 EMA. And before we start getting into altcoins, let's take a look at Total 2. Now, this one had an inverted head and shoulders right here. Let's go to a smaller time frame on the 4-hour. And it did break down from that, but actually caught back up. That's a good sign. It's got a chance to, and it broke down after that, didn't it? Okay. It's a good sign that it made it back up to this point, and it should, with this pattern, actually start coming up, which would be a rally for the altcoins. But now we just looked at some contradicting information that could be spelling some downside for altcoins. So got to keep an eye on this. It should be breaking up, but we've got to see it get above this neckline right here. That's 1 point below where it is now. We've got to break that, flip this in support and resistance. If we do that, we can flip this line right in here to support We could see a rally in altcoins. Altcoins. If we get rejected, which we may possibly do, we could see some downside. We're at that critical point right now. All right. So I think I've got all the explanations out of the way that I was planning on going over. And now we can start taking a look at some altcoins and things like that. And if you got any TA questions or anything, feel free to ask. I'll go over the processes I use on these to do my technical analysis. And hopefully you guys can learn something in the meantime. Okay, Leandro says, there are very few YouTubers like you, Lane, who really want to teach without asking for money. That's why it's important to support people like you. I appreciate that. There are, I don't see a lot of them out there pushing things, but I do see a few. And it really disturbs me, especially when I see them do sloppy TA. Let me say this. Everything is not a cup and handle. And usually when you see that happen and they're patting themselves on the back for identifying a pattern or basically forcing a pattern, cup and handle is a pattern that plays out. Thomas Bukowski gives that as one of his highest rated performing patterns. That means if when you see one that goes along the rules, plays along the rules, that's spelled out by the signs to look for, it should play out very well. And what you see is people out there teaching this, and they're forcing other patterns into that, calling anything a cup and handle. One such example was on the daily chart on Bitcoin. This right here was a cup and handle. I haven't seen one of those since 1969. And you get that whole spiel. Did that play out? No, it's not a cup and handle. The things that you're looking for, the biggest thing, stay away from pointy bottoms. You don't want points. You want it to be nice and rounded. And you don't want the handle to come below the halfway mark. They're not telling you what would discredit these patterns. They're just throwing these out there, taking a very sloppy measured move, if I can get one. Well, where's my little line? So I see this happen a lot. They'll take a little measure move there, put it somewhere over here. And that's not good enough. They've got to take this and do something crazy like this. I just see lots of sloppy stuff out there. And like I said, once you learn to do this stuff, you can spot this and you can spot their motivations too. And if you listen to them closely, they will tell you their YouTube channels where their money is coming from. And when they start flashing their money, just know that's because there's about 800 to 1,000 people giving them $100 every month that they're talking into, telling them how they're going to change their lives with cryptocurrency. Well, they're changing it by shilling trading groups every 5 minutes. That's my rant. I want to shut up now. Let's get on to something more fun. Let's get on to DOT. All right. For KuCoin, although I will look at any exchange that you guys request, KuCoin is just where I happen to trade the most because I'm in the USSA and we don't have access to Binance.com anymore. Thank you, Gary. Gary has done so much for this space. All right. We are at a weekly support level we identified recently. Have another support down here at 379. Thankfully, we have not been into that yet, We're toward the bottom of the support line. That's kind of cool. Let's go down to a smaller time. Well, let's read this one. We had some bearish news. There's a few days ago, and I think we kind of played through a lot of that. It's not looking like it's in a bad spot just yet. We got the bounce here at 513. Man, that was a good price. So I was accumulating DOT. I've accumulated anywhere from $6 on down to the lower $5. I think about right around 550, 540, somewhere through there is probably about the lowest that I got in on this. I do have this. I've got it staking. I'm pretty comfortable with the amount that I have now. And I'm not planning really on adding any more to that unless I just get a killer price. But it is one of my bigger holds, and I do believe in this one. I don't see anything terrible right here. We're just fighting with that support line, and it looks like we're doing okay. We're just a little bit above it. It's kind of that same situation that we just saw with Total 2, looks like. where it dipped below its support resistance zone. So we've got to get above this line right here. So that 542, that 1 cent, we got to get above that 1 cent. I think that can happen. Indicators are not looking as stochastic's getting a little spin. We got some green coming in on the money flow. That's a good sign there. That's a good sign. When we see the money flow in Market Cipher come in, or you can also use like Chaikin money flow indicators, other indicators that you can use for money flow. But when you see that coming in, that's a good sign. Although it looks like it may get a little tired. I would be looking for DOT to be coming up to about 547 to retest this area right here. We need to break above that and then get back on up to this 200 on that 4 hour. Let's take a look at the 1 hour and see what we got. Oh, that's looking nice. We're starting to get some crosses here on our EMAs. That's a good sign. They got a little bear flag there on the 1 hour. This has kind of got a slight rounding there. Some people would call that a cup and handle. I don't, because my rules tell me that a cup and handle rises into that price and doesn't drop into that price. So like I said, on these patterns, you need to have some rules, and that's my rules for that. So I do not consider that a cup and handle, but we can take a look and see what we've got here on a smaller time frame for a pattern out or within this larger pattern. It is still in a falling wedge. That's good. It's just at the bottom of it. This is actually a good time to pick some up, in my honest opinion. If I were still accumulating this is where I'd be accumulating. And I do think this is a good one to dollar cost average into. It's interoperable, and they're even doing some things with the Cosmos ecosystem. I know they've already reached out with a WAN chain, so Polkadot's available on WAN chain now. That's another one that I play with, although it's been rather disappointing. It is currently in an upward channel, which is, that's a bearish thing. So I'm going to copy this line. So what I'll do, I'll get 2 to 3 points, and whether it's on the bottom or the top, but you'll find price travels in a channel, and those angles, they will hold up. So I draw my line, I hit control, grab that, bring it down, and you can see how well that they line up. It does dip a little bit below when I line it up to that one. And that's fine. That is fine and dandy. But connecting those two is perfect. And that's where I'm going to leave it right there. So an upward channel, now those have a tendency to break to the downside. Let's hope that it doesn't. And also, if it were to, we still have this trend line right here to act as support. So that's a good thing. So it's either going to come back up to this area here, about 587, somewhere through there, possibly more than likely get rejected from there, come back down to the lower area of here. And then, it may break through and come down to the lower end of this trend line. We could be seeing about $4.90 out of this later on in the month, or maybe next month. Hard to say. It really depends. We've got to see what it does now. If it breaks above this 200 EMA, that's great. And if it does break above this pattern, when things break out to the upside in these, they have a good move going forward. And that could be what we're looking at, that we need to break out of this larger falling wedge. So it's really going to depend on how this acts here. But normally this is a bearish pattern. It should break to the downside. However, if it breaks to the upside, it's going to be a good move, a really good move. So, Shahida, how you doing? I meant to do that. I meant to do that before I went to DOT. I'm sorry, Shahida. I totally forgot. I've been meaning to make a video, and even when I started this live stream, I said that was the first thing I was going to do. Go to YFII. Let's do that now. 587 would be Leandro's asking, would $5.87 be a good price to try a short? Let's take a look at that. I believe that was a good area. Right up here about 587, 590. Yeah, if you want to look for a short, I would just confirm the rejection, wait till we actually, get rejected. Make sure your indicators are high. You got a red dot on Market Cipher, or you got your RSI up here toward the top, stochastics at the top, that kind of thing. Make sure your indicators are confirming that. But yeah, it wouldn't hurt to short. You want to try shorting. I typically don't use leverage trading with the altcoins. it's much easier to trade Bitcoin, in my opinion, than to try to trade the altcoins because they depend on Bitcoin too. So you might as well go with the one that's going to control the flow. In my book, that's how I'm looking at it. Since Bitcoin rules the show, you know, he does something crazy. You don't know what the altcoins are going to do. You know, they may take it real serious and dive. So they're just a little trickier to trade, in my opinion, as far as with leverage and things. But you don't have to use leverage to short. You can use 1x leverage. That's a cool little trick. And you're not losing. You would be gaining dot as you come back down and close that position. So that's kind of cool. And even when I trade leverage on Bitcoin, I'm trading it so that I'm gaining Bitcoin instead of dollars. I'm trading a Bitcoin based pair instead of a UST based pair when it comes to futures trading and things like that. All right, so moving on to YFII. And that's one of the reasons I think that it slipped my mind so easy is because KuCoin doesn't have that. That was a Binance thing. And I'm going to assume that you want this in stable coin versus Bitcoin. So if I'm ever wrong on that, just spell out what trading pair that you're looking at. Oh, that looks good. That's on the 4 hour. This should be doing pretty well. This kind of follows YFI too. And it's been a while since I've traded this one. I did have this as in the bull market. I was trading around with this one and YFI. Gosh, October 20. That's been a while. It's been a couple of years since I messed with this one, looks like. All right, so now Shahito, I'm thanks for the advice, Lane. Hey, no problem, Leandro. Man, and thank you so much for being here and supporting the channel like you have. That's been amazing. Shahito, I'm guessing that you're looking at this more from an investment perspective, if I'm correct. And let's see if we can find some targets here. So market cipher on the daily is good. We got the money flows in the green. That's good. Now it's starting to come down a little bit. Stochastics are coming down a little bit. Looks like and this little yellow area right here, that's our, what we're calling a VWAP. Now, when that crosses to the downside, that's downward action right there. So that's what I'm keeping my eye on here. It's starting to take a little bit of a turn. So it may not be that bad, especially with the money flow coming in. So it looks like it may just be flagging out here. That's what I'm seeing. And that's a good sign. So as far as patterns go, you know, we're looking at kind of a mini bull flag here. And by technical analysis, you know, you got a measured move there that should take this up to right here at this area. And that makes perfect sense coming in under this support resistance area right there. So that's confluence that we're looking at right there. At 24.43, that would be a good area to look at maybe taking some profit. And let's see what else we got here. Let's pull a Fibonacci level here. Ooh, that's a good area right here at 3,025. That'll be more your big dog area to look at for taking profit. That's the area, the 618. When you pull a Fibonacci like that, that's where most people are going to be trying to short this thing. So let's identify that, mark that as a 618. And 786 is also a good target. That's 35.72. Usually like to put my sell targets in red. I'm going to take profits. So let's just call that one a take profit. And of course up here at the 1-to-1, that's 42.69. That was the previous high. There is an 886 that could be you front running. You know, sometimes we like to use these to front run this bigger move there, just so, you know, we get our orders filled, right? So measure move here is just right above this 382 Fibonacci area. So I'd be looking at both of these as some possible profit taking areas. So let me go ahead and mark this one at 22.57. And I mentioned this one because if we get up and we don't make it past here, at this point, chances are we got more downside. So we need to make it above this 382 to feel more comfortable about possibly getting up to this 3,000 area. This would be the first area I'd be looking at for rejection there. And if it doesn't make it up there, I would be looking at possibly coming back down to some of these areas here, maybe about to 1470, maybe back down to, you know, $1,000, 1,014, if this area doesn't hold. But it's showing some signs, you know, things are looking good there. I want to check out some divergences. I am a big divergence trader. That is one of the key things that I look for when I get into a trade, because that's something that you can rely on. Especially bullish divergence plays out excellent in a bull market, and it plays out very well in a bear market. And it may not reach the highs in a bear market that you normally expect, but you can depend on that. Hidden bullish divergence in a bear market, that one gets a little iffy. But generally, your divergence is, that's where you're going to find a strong move. Not seeing anything that's just jumping out at me there, though. But nothing right here. So we got this high, and then we got a lower high. That's a lower high too, but you see, it doesn't come down as much. So that is putting some bearish pressure there. That tells me maybe a chance to get rejected here. So I would look at that. So this may be an area to look at taking profit and buying back cheaper. And I mean, you don't have to sell your whole bag. And I made it a rule to never sell my whole bag. That was a lesson I had to learn. I sell in parts, either 25% or up to 50% of my position. Because what I find, I can sell all out here. Oops, sorry about that. Price still keeps going up. I'm out of the trade. If I sell half here, price keeps going up. I've taken profit. I'm good. And then I've still got some more profit that I can just kind of weed out as the trade goes up. If the trade goes down, I've got some profit that I can buy back in. I may have created a moon bag. That's what I love to do. I love to get these things to double up the price, my entry price, take half that profit out, and then I've got free crypto and I've got my money back. That is the best way to play this game. That is the best long-term investment strategy I think that there is, moon bags. All right, let's clean up this chart just a little bit here. So YFI, I think that looks good, and I think you definitely do have at least a trade up to 22.57, hopefully above there. But yeah, I would look at taking profit, a little bit of profit there, especially if you're trading, or maybe if you got into the investing over here. I don't know what your situation is, but what I'm telling you hopefully will help you kind of figure out what to do there. And Shahida, yeah, you are welcome. Thank you so much for asking about that. And thank you for asking for Energy Web Token, by the way. I love it when you guys request coins. You guys bring up some things that I haven't been in for a while, or I haven't been looking for a while. And I'm telling you, me just doing that video got so many hits. I was like about 250 people views on that. That was great for a small channel like me. That was amazing. I put out Bitcoin video and I get like maybe 60 people look at it. And in the Energy Web Token, a requested coin like that, and so many people looking at it, it's great. I love that. When we're sharing and things like that, or just sharing information, even just doing a request, oh man, it's just great. It just gets a synergy going, and we can all learn and all benefit from it. Kind of like XDB, and let me go ahead and pull that one next. XDB. That was one that I would not normally looked at, and it was brought up in the live stream, and I'm in on it. Now it's not been fabulous, but it's not been horrible. I got a couple of good trades out of it, and then now I've decided after looking at that, I'm just going to hold this sucker for long term. So yeah, digital bits right here. And in my latest video, I was talking about that. When you look at it and zoom out, I mean, one of the things you want to do in this part of the market cycle, when we're near these bottoms, if you find some degen altcoins, there are some altcoins out here, some new projects that may be coming out between now and the next bull market. Those are some to look at. Some that have had a history where they've reached some highs. There's a good chance they're going to make it back up there again. So that's what we're betting on here. Our risk to reward ratio for buying down here at this level for this coin to possibly come back up to like 68, 80 cents, and you're buying it at 0.003. That's a hard risk to reward ratio to beat. It came up to something like, even coming up to this area right here would be like an 8,000% return. That's 800x. Those are the crazy gains that they're with taking a risk on. So, I put about 500 into this, and I think I'm down to like 420, 450, somewhere through there. Just a little bit of drawdown, 10% drawdown. That's nothing, especially in a bear market. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with taking the risk on this. And, I've also alleviated some of that risk too with the trades I had. That means that my actual buying price is cheaper than what I got in on, around 4.5 cents, because I traded, took profit on that, rebought back in. So really, I technically probably in profit on that. When you do all the math through it, buying here, selling, buying, selling, and then I pretty much got stuck into my position here. So yeah, right under 5 cents, on down to about 4.5, I think. And now we're down at 3.5. But still, what I made on trading, I'm still good. And I just think this is, a decent one to look at for long term, and it's going to take it a long time to play out. I've got this there, but it's probably realistically more something like this. A lot of long sideways actions, what we're going to see from a lot of these small cap coins, with some spikes here and there. Those are always cool. All right, CD's here. Hey, how are you, man? Can we check out? Let's see. Is that Australian dollar? I see one of those upward channels going. Is that right? Australian dollar? I've never done that. Sure, we can try it. Oh, there we go. AUD, USD. That should work. All right, we got it. Okay. What we got going on? Let's check out our bigger time frames. Oh, we're cooking now. So how do you like trading Forex? How's that work out for you? That has to involve a lot of margin. I don't know that I would feel comfortable with Forex. But all the trading information, we sure do get a lot of good trading tips from these Forex traders. Makes up a lot of my strategy. All right, so there's our channel. Oh, that's a good sign right there then. So we've got a partial decline, basically. So we're going from top, bottom, trying to make it to the top. Partial decline, stuck here at this level. That's a good sign. That means this is probably, we're looking for a breakout, possibly. So let's mark this level here. So I'm liking that. EMAs are coming down a little bit. Look at this. You had green dot on the weekly, and I'm on the weekly chart here. Stochastics are a little bit high. They do that. MACD's looking good. And, our RSIs are in a good spot. I'm not seeing anything horrible other than, we're just on the wrong side of the market at the moment. Let's go to the daily here, and that's looking better. Daily slipped that 100 EMA, good sign. Got rejected at 200, but it's trying to retest it again, and signs are pointing that it's trying to get up above there. So yeah, we should come back up to this area right around 73.5, 73.6, somewhere through there is what I'm seeing as a target. It is in another bullish pattern within the bullish pattern. That's always a good sign to have two bullish patterns together, one inside the other. The smaller ones, the downward facing megaphone, and that's bullish because it's a megaphone saying, "Hey, come up!" And that's how I remember these. And if they're pointing up and saying, "Hey, come down, get out of that tree," that's how I remember these. So we're headed there. It's got a very good chance right now. Green dot on market cipher on the daily. Hey. It looks like you're going to break out of this, expect a retest, and then, shooting up here around 73 cents, maybe up to 73.5 cents. So very new to it, but I'm doing okay. Up this month, still learning. Appreciate your channel. Hey, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. That sounds interesting. One of these days, I want to try this. I just don't know how it works yet. I'm not familiar with the exchanges that they traded stuff on. Seems like Binance might have had a few Forex pairs. I can't remember if they did it or not. They kicked me off, with the whole USSA thing. Lately, I've been referring to the USSA, especially with Gary Gensler, kind of overlooking things, because that's what it reminds me of. If you can't free trade in a free country, it's not so free, is it? And I don't think there's anything that embodies the original pioneering American spirit that this country was founded on than Bitcoin. Having that freedom of choice, freedom of property, freedom of speech, freedom. I mean, why are they trying to take all this away from us? Why are they not behind this? Oh, you know, we chose the banker's fiat over gold. And now Bitcoin, they just don't get it. They don't get it. But we do. And that's an important thing. El Salvador gets it. I'm ready to see them come up in the world, man. I'm expecting them to be like the digital Saudi Arabia. I think I'm just excited to see what that country transform into because of what they've done to break away from the IMF and everything. I have this for those occasions where I start talking like that. Get my tinfoil hat out. Ha! No, I'm just kidding. Love the megaphone example. Oh, cool. I haven't done that chart video, have I? Hey, CD, I don't know if you saw this. I'm not shilling this, but this is just something cool that I picked up off of Amazon, and I liked it so much I reached out to the company. They're supposed to send me a coupon code for 15% off. I haven't got it yet. They're like $35 at Amazon. They're like little cards, man. Thomas Bukowski, who has all the statistics, that's who I teach, his trading style and everything. They got like these flashcards that have all of his statistics on the back. It's kind of cool. I'm going to start using these in my chart school videos. But I reached out to the company. They're supposed to send me a 15% off coupon code, which I haven't got yet. Wall Street Merch is the name of the company, but it's kind of cool to have that information at your fingertips, you know, rather than have to flip through, you know, the big textbooks, because, you know, I've got those books too. And those books are expensive. Thomas Bukowski only like puts out a limited number of them, and then they become collector's items. And then instead of selling for $60 to $80, they start selling for like $500. So they're not as easy to get unless you get a digital copy. All right. Hello, Truth Wins. Thank you, brother. Hey, I appreciate that. All right. Well, so today I went over a little bit of Bitcoin to see what that was doing. Went over market structure, which I guess if, you know, this chart school lesson, that was the main thing that I want to go over because that's very important at this time of the cycle. Made sure I went over YFII. I've been meaning to do a video on that, and I did. It slipped me somehow. And I think it's because I just don't see it on my exchange. And of course, we went over DOT and went over AUD. Guys, if you got any other coins that you want to take a look at or any questions about the market in general or technical analysis, how we set up charts or anything, feel free to ask. Otherwise, I may look at just one or two more coins on my personal list, unless you have one that you want to see. And then we'll probably call it a night here. I think one that I want to bring up is Thor. That's one of my longer term holds. And it's been kind of down lately. There's Thor swap. Looking for Thor chain. No, it's not. It's been doing pretty good. All right. Oh, we've had a pretty good run with that. I'm thinking about Theta. Theta being about 89 cents. Thor chain, yeah, it has been doing good. This is one that, man, I've been dollar cost. Well, I've been fine on the dips and everything, building up a position on this, and especially when we reach down these lower areas around $1, a little over $1. Yeah, because this one easily goes up to about like $16. So, you know, a 16x return, not bad. 15, 16x, not bad. It is in a falling wedge right there. Let me go ahead and extend that out a little bit, and is not retested the bottom. So it looks like we're trying to get that little leg up there. Let's see. This was when I was looking at it over here. It had kind of a rounding bottom. At the time, that was cool, and it did, you know, meet its target there. This is a good formation, these rounding bottoms, but they are best when you can apply this over terms of weeks. That's when these really shine. Okay, so let me throw that out there. Just to clarify this whole rounding bottom things, that's one of the best patterns you can look for during these bear markets. And so you'll just kind of pick an area there, draw this out and extend it. And you should, you know, it should automatically line up some touches there. So we could be seeing this play out, or, quite honestly, where's this take us? August 23? We could, it's hard to draw these rounding lines. So I don't put 100% faith in their accuracy as I do a straight line, but they can play out. But one of the things that you want to look for during this bear market, let me get my tool, these really long, smooth, drawn out, rounded bottoms. And then sometimes also if you see it go flat line. Now, you don't want to rush in and buy it when it's flat. You want to see it jump to life. So you want to see it do something. But after it's completed, like a flat run, those are good ones to get into, to look for getting into. So flat, and then maybe a little bump, shows that it still has some life, some point that it's going to turn around, then get in on it. And those usually perform well. And then also the ones that just gradually have that rounded bottom and it just starts curving up, and you'll see some bumps in there every now and then. You'll see a spike as this plays out. Those are good ones. Those are accumulation zones. So whatever projects that you're really sold on, projects that have a purpose, I like coins that do something, because the ones that don't, well, they're probably automatically going to be considered securities for one reason. But a coin needs to have a purpose, and a good purpose, not like an FTT purpose. It needs to do something. I'm not as big on governance tokens and things like that, or exchange tokens, although I do have some like Osmo, things like that. But I do like the layer 1s, layer 2s, something that has a purpose, something that does more than just give someone rights to vote and things like that. Something that does something. It's got to fuel something. Those in my mind are the best ones to get in on. All right, guys. I don't see any more requests for coins, so I'll just call this a stream. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And I really appreciate your support. And if you could hit that like button on the way out, that would be great. And for those of you out there that have been hitting that like button, I just want to say thank you. Thank you very much. Well, that just ruined that, didn't it? For those of you out there that have been hitting that like button, Elvis says thank you very much. Thank you. But until next time, my name is Lane, your Crypto Road Dog. Just reminding you, man, you seriously are in the market at the best time. Even if you're brand new, don't know what to do, just get your feet wet a little at a time. Just a little bit every week. Buy a little Bitcoin. Buy a decent altcoin. If you don't know what the good ones are, don't rush it. Study, learn. All right. Until next time, my name is Lane.